Okay, so if you didn't do well on the last unit, I mean, in the end, we want you to understand this stuff. This unit is pretty closely related. The last unit was called graphing linear equations. This one is called using linear equations, the whole thing. I mean, the truth is that sometimes we do refer to graphs, but basically this is supposed to be about using the equations and not necessarily graphing the equations. At this point, I would think that we're going to have our test on the 13th of December, which is the week before we have our break. Quizzes, I just say TBD because I think we'll probably have multiple quizzes and it'll just depend on when they fit in. I will let you know for the most part. So what information do we need to write an equation in slope-intercept form? You need the slope and you need the y-intercept, right? You need the slope and you need the y-intercept. Again, what does it mean, the y-intercept? Where does it cross the y-axis, right? And the slope is the rise over the run. How far is it going up and down as it goes from left to right? Okay. So write an equation of a line that has a slope of -2 and a y-intercept of 5. So I'm going to write down the formula. Okay. So again, there's only two things I've got to put in there, right? M and B. I don't fill in X and Y, right? Because how many X and Y values are there on this line? It's an infinite number of points, right? So, I mean, there will be X's and Y's, but they're not constant. M and B are constant. Once we know them, we can plug in for them, and then we've got our line. Okay, so what is that? What do I put in the place of M? -2. And the y-intercept is +5. I mean, it seems kind of basic, but that's where this unit starts. And the whole first section is pretty much like that. Oh, I didn't. You're right. Sorry. I should have put 5. I think I said 5 and I wrote B. My brain is going haywire. So you try. Write an equation of the line which has a slope of 8 and a y-intercept of -7. Right. Give you 10 seconds. How's that? Right. Right, so how did it read? Y equals. What goes after the equals? 8 x -7. Okay, we're just filling in for the given information. Okay. Okay, now we'll do it by, again, they got graphs in here, they're kind of mixing and matching, but write the slope-intercept equation of the line that's graphed. So again, we need to know two things, the slope and the y-intercept. Okay, so it's probably the easiest thing to find. What is the y-intercept? Right, B equals +3, right, because that's that point right there. Okay, and then how are we going to find M? First, is that slope going to be positive or negative? Negative. It's going down from left to right, so it's got to be negative. So at that point, you want to kind of look for two places where it looks like the graph crosses. Well, you've got the y-intercept, so definitely we'll start with that. Now look for another place where the line crosses the intersection of grid lines. Yeah. So, like, if I go over 1 to the right, that's not good because it's in between grid lines. 2, 3, 4. Oh, looks like it's right here. There's a place where it crosses the intersection of grid lines. So now we can do our slope. Right? M equals the rise over the run. So how much are we going up and down as we go from the y-intercept to this point? What is that distance? It's down 2, right? That is down 2. And then how many x values are we going to the right? 5, right 5. Okay, so there's our m. Now we write our equation of a line. Y equals. Okay, what's it going to be? Negative 2/5 x, don't forget the x, plus 3. Okay, so we got a negative slope. It definitely looks like it's going down, so at least it passes that test. So try to do the same. Nope. I guess I didn't put a you try on that one. What if you don't know the slope, but they give you 2 points? Then you figure out the slope, right? Now in these first problems, one of the 2 points is actually the y-intercept. So that makes it a little bit easier. Now which one of these 2 points is the y-intercept? 0, -5 or 3, -1? Why is that the y-intercept? Yeah, remember, because on the y-axis, x equals 0, right? X is telling you how far you are to the left or to the right, and on the y-axis, you're like right in the middle, so that's why x is 0. That's how you recognize b equals -5. Okay, now we need to calculate the slope. So remember, this is more practice doing what we just did in this last unit, but how do I calculate the slope in this one? M equals, what should I put in the numerator? You know, in some order, either you're going to do -1 minus -5, or you're going to do -5 minus -1. But you got to subtract in the same order, top and bottom. So if I did -1 minus -5, so now I've got to go 3 minus 0. Right? And at that point, you could put that in the calculator. You know, alpha y equals 1 for the fraction, and figure it out. What is that going to be? -1 plus 5 over 3, which is 4/3. Okay, so now we've got our m, and we've got our b. Write the equation. What's that? The formula for slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Right, and so I use this to be my x2, y2. I could have made it the other. I would have got the same thing. So what is the equation of a line? Y equals 4/3 x minus 5. Right? The minus 5 because that's the y-intercept. We know it because x equals 0. Okay, try that one. Same deal. Okay, what was the y-intercept? 1, right? Because that's the y-coordinate that had an x-coordinate of 0. Okay, and slope, you know, we still get, I mean, it's kind of a binary thing. It's either one or the other, right? Do the y's go in the numerator, or do the x's go in the numerator? It's the y's. So once you decide that, I mean, you can decide which point is the x2, y2, but that's the one you got to start with, top and bottom. So I'm going to start with -1, because that's there, -1, that's that, and 4 minus 0, which is -2 over 4, which is -1/2. So y equals -1/2 x plus 1. Okay. 10. Is that right? Okay, so we were introduced to this function notation in the last unit. You know, where you can say f of 3, f of 0, right? That's just f. You can think of f of x as like y. It's the same thing as y, but it's a notation that gets used a lot in math. So they're going to give us some problems where they actually don't give us the point directly, but they tell us, instead of saying that we have the point 3, -1, it's saying that f of 3 equals -1. Or instead of saying you have the point 0, -5, it will say f of 0 equals -5. Those say the same thing. So if you get the function notation, you're probably going to be more comfortable. Write it as a point. Just make it look like a point because you're probably more comfortable with it. So for example, write the slope-intercept equation for this linear function if it has the following values. F of 0 equals 5. F of 4 equals 17. What are the 2 points that they're telling us when they tell us that? F of 0 equals 5 is the point 0, 5. F of 4 equals 17 is the point 4, 17. Okay, now you're answering the questions just like we did on the last ones. Right, write the slope-intercept equation. What is the y-intercept? B equals 5, right? From there. And then you got to calculate the slope. M equals 17 minus 5 divided by 4 minus 0, which is 12 over 4, which is 3. So what is the slope-intercept equation of a line? 3x plus 5, right? The slope goes here, right? The b goes there. So the main point of these slides is that what are you going to do when it gives you the function notation, right? You're going to turn them into points and then do what we just did. So here's your chance to show that. All right, write the slope-intercept equation for the linear function if it has these values. F of 0 equals -2. F of 8 equals 4. Okay, I'm going to go through it again. These are easy steps. You only want to, if you're not getting it because either we're like, you don't really speak the same language or you're just not trying at all. At all. Right? What's the point that goes with f of 0 equals -2? 0, -2. How complicated is that? What's the point that goes from f of 8 equals 4? 8, 4. Okay, now we do exactly what we did on the prior slide. We write the equation in slope-intercept form. So what 2 things do we need to write an equation in slope-intercept form? You need the slope and you need the y-intercept, okay? Is one of those points the y-intercept? Which one is the y-intercept? That's, so -2 equals the b, okay? Find the slope. Okay, using these 2 points, right? 4 minus -2 divided by 8 minus 0. So that's +6 over +8, which is 3/4. I mean, you could have put all of that in the calculator and it would have spit out a simplified fraction for you. Okay, but that's not the end either, right? It said write the equation. What's the equation? Slope times x plus the y-intercept. So it's better than saying plus -2, say -2. Okay, a recording studio charges musicians an initial fee of $50 to record an album, and the studio time costs an additional $35 per hour. Okay, write the equation in slope-intercept form that represents the total cost, C, of an album as a function of the studio time. Okay, and I'm just, because we don't have much time, I'm just going to write, okay, the total cost, C, right, there's an initial cost of $50, that's the y-intercept. That one doesn't change no matter what the x value is. And if you're paying $35 per hour, whenever you see that kind of words, it's like the amount per something else, that's the slope. So 35H. Right? Now, find the total cost of making an album that required 10 hours of studio time. Where would you put that 10? That's the hours. So do that. C equals 35 times 10 plus 50, which is $400. Not bad if you're going to make $1 million record sales. That's the homework.